my Itixit X500 kayak. It's very lovely. Today we're going to talk about how to put it up and how to take it down again. I saw the video from Decathlon about how to pack it away, and the guy who did that made it look awfully difficult, so hopefully I'm going to make it look a lot easier. Cross fingers. So the way I found easiest to pump the device up is to start with the center chambers, making sure the valve is in the up position, because if you do the big chamber and all the air rushes out after you spend 5 minutes pushing it, you will be very sorry. Now I like to do the center chambers first because they push the boat outwards, and that makes life easier in a moment when you do everything else. So that's outwards. Just put that in for the sake of demonstration. So you spend all your time pumping it up, take it off, and it all goes out again. Which for a small chamber is not a problem. For the main chamber, you'll be very sorry. So Itixit say that you should not go above 10 psi, which we largely hold to. Probably about 11 there, it's close enough. So, always worth putting the valve caps on. This is the mid-range pump. We do a double chamber job, but it's a horrific amount of money. Now this is fine. It's only a £5 job anyway. So, at the back here there are 3 valve stems, and you can see, probably not from where you are, which one's which, because these side chambers come to a nice curved line at the end, and the valve's just at the end of that chamber, so you know which one you're in. So valve stem out. I like to do the side ones first because again they pull the kayak into shape. They don't take very long, so it's quite satisfying. That one. I'm not going to put the stem covers on because I'm taking this straight down again. So 10 psi, and I forgot to do the valve properly. Annoying. Thought I had it. The intake for this pump is here. It's not unusual for it to stick to your clothing as you're pulling the pump up, but it is what it is. Right, it's definitely out. And this is the main chamber. It takes a long time. And in actual fact, for the purpose of this, we don't need to do that. So we'll call that to a halt there. Now, in terms of the footrests, I usually leave those attached to the boat, because when I'm folding it up I can usually find a way to shove them in at the side. It's a lot of faff to get the adjustment right every time. You might as well leave it where you like it. So now I'm not going to bother with those. It'll be pretty obvious when you get your own. And the final part of the puzzle, if you like, is the seat. Not a bad seat. I do find that with this shaping, what you end up with is a very small, thinner area for your sit bones. Now I have nothing on me, so I find that after several hours these get a little uncomfortable. It is a good seat. It is memory foam. My experience of memory foam though is it tends to sort of deflate to the shape that you are and stay there and feel a bit hard. I'd have preferred maybe a latex, but that's a pricey option. And I would definitely have preferred much more padding. You can see at the sides, the bits you don't sit on, there's masses of padding. So it makes no sense they put the thin bit where your bum goes, but you know, that's only small criticism. I have paddled this for many hours and not been uncomfortable, and just get out and walk around for a bit. So Decathlon, that's my suggestion to you. And equally at the back is again very thin padding apart from the edges, which they're using as a bolster cushion, sure, but if you can't manage to sit upright, you're doing something wrong, and that could have been a bit thicker as well. And I'll tell you for why. So if we put this in, this locks onto the orange tabs that are in the boat, and then this backrest clips against the back float and underneath the ridge. The problem with that being that this ridge here, when you're sitting in it, you do kind of get a bruise in the small of your back because that's pressing on you all the time. If there were an extra 15-20 millimeters rather of padding, then that would have been a lot more comfortable. So really I think the seat needs a little work. It's a minor criticism, but after a certain number of hours on the water, you kind of think you would have preferred a bit more padding. So that's that. Anyway, so that comes out. Now the other aspect of the kayak is the rear luggage chamber. So shove the dry bag in there, roll it down a lot neater than I've just done, clip it closed. Now, worth bearing in mind that there is no seal in the back of the kayak. This is all one thing, so it's not like you've got a dry area, a dry storage locker, or indeed any kind of flotation chamber at the back. It is what it is. So you will need a dry bag, quite important. You'll be sorry if you don't. I bought the Decathlon bilge pump, so if you do get a tumble, maybe you don't have a spray deck because you haven't learned your Eskimo roll yet, or maybe it's just full of water every time you get in and out, you can just pump it out very quickly with that. I usually shove it down where I can get to it, but it's not in the way. So, other than that, you've got this rather nice plungy area where you can roll up your coat, because it can get a bit windy on the river sometimes or on the sea, and just bang that under there. Maybe roll your water bottle up in there as well. Something, anything you're going to want access to. Maybe your sandwiches if they're in your dry bag, whatever you need. This is quite good actually. I've attached this 5-meter paracord, which has got a small loop at the end. I just shove my kayak paddles through there, because of course they split in half, and that's then a leash for my paddles, so if they go overboard, I'm not going to lose them, I'm not going to drift away. It can be slightly easier for lifting if you pass it through that strap there, hold on to this, and then lift from the paracord. Can help. It's a bit thin to be comfortable, but with your luggage in the back, the weight does move back towards more the rear here. I do find that a 16 kilo kayak with luggage gets quite heavy when you're carrying it. Now, when you are carrying it, you'll typically either be trying to pull from here, but this is not ideal, it's very flexible, or you try and use the provided straps here. The problem is that you've got a very wide spread, and what you really want is a carrying handle here. So this is my second minor grumble about the design. Carrying straps are not in a useful place on the kayak. I would have much rather have a strap here, or maybe sort of in this section or whatever. Maybe just another strap entirely. Just says you've got a much better lifting point for when you're porting the kayak from one place to another, and there's maybe only one of you, as there often is with myself. So, that being said, it's a great boat. I love it. It's fast. It's way faster than the conventional ones. I call them wiggling hippos. You see them just fishtailing all the way up the lake. My mates put in 3 or 4 times the effort that I put in on a trip in their fat old blubbery kayaks. This is way better. This is like a rigid boat, but it's inflatable. So let's depressurize and see how we go with packing away. Oh, nearly forgot. The other thing that I do, this is my waterproof pouch for my phone. I've got my British Canoeing membership pass in the back, so if anybody challenges me on the water, I've got it there already. I've got my phone for obviously calls and sat nav. It's nice to know where you are on the river sometimes. So what I do with that is I just pass the string through one of these holes in the front, loop that through there, pull it tight. It's long enough that I can use it, and then when I'm not using it I just shove it under the deck, there out of the way, so I'm not going to lose it. But point being, it's available, but I'm not going to lose it if I roll over or just have it slip out of my hands. So that's a nice thing to do. It's very useful. I have camped in this, put all my stuff in there, stayed overnight at a lock on the last flat grass. It was good. Sorry about the planes. So let's see about putting it away. I do say you should keep your face away. It does come out at some more pressure. Okay, let's clear all this. So the approach I take, so we're getting the top deck to fold inwards. Make sure the feet supports are way out. Just give it a bit of a stand. Get as much air out as you can. It's never going to lay perfectly flat. What we're going for is easier. So what we're going to do, make sure it's dry as well. You don't want this rotting. Make sure you wash it at the end as well, because you don't want to be polluting another river course with the biology of the river course you just come from. You might transfer eggs and such like. So wash it, dry it, make sure it's thoroughly dry. I'm going to pick up the end. And what we're aiming for is the middle of the Itixit badge. So, and we'll take out the creases from the fold point if we can, because over time that will become a tear point. And do the same with the other end. Got a slight crease there. You can't eliminate them. Just do your best. So we've got two ends folded in, pretty much on the W of the Itixit. I tend to set one up and set one down. Just offset like that. I find that helps. Let's just try and get that a bit smoother. As good as you can get. We can then get the seat. According to the instructions, you'd want to put that in there. I found that works okay. And then fold them over. You're really looking for, if you've got it absolutely right, both ends to be the same length. So, I wouldn't normally drag it around on concrete, but it's what we got. So, got the strap ready. Now if we put some weight on it, get the strap under. done this slightly wrong. Really looking for the buckle to be at that end, so that when you tighten it, you've got somewhere to go. And as you apply your weight, you pull your strap down, and that will keep it pretty much where you want it. That being now done, you're looking for the fatter end of the boat to go in the bottom of the bag. This makes life a lot easier. Just upend the bag and the boat, put it in there, and then these things, the footrests, go in the void you created there. Found it. You can often get your pump in there as well, your bilge pump. There's not enough space really to get your master pump in. So, now if you've got all this right, you should be able to pull this up. Your bag should neatly, nicely come over the top without too much effort. If you need effort, you've done it wrong. And then you zip. Nice and easy. I'm actually quite impressed with that. So then you've got spaces for your paddles both sides of the bag. Again, you can close the clips, zip it down. You can jam your pump under there, jam your life jacket under there. I often do this so that I'm never forgetting anything, it's there. That'll hold it nice and steady. The bag's pretty good. You've got adjustable straps so you can treat it as a rucksack, but I mean it is huge. You are like the world's worst Ninja Turtle. But it's a way of getting around on public transport if you maybe don't have a car, or if you've got a distance from your car to the riverbank. So, and what I'll typically do then is just leave the bag with the buckle around a pole somewhere, so that if I'm going out and back, then it's there when I need it when I come back again, and I can use it to carry it back to the car. But equally, you might want to leave it in the car for security. I don't know why anybody would nick a bag. Now the other option, Decathlon do the canoe, which is a 2-3 person job, and that comes with a big roller bag, which as far as I can tell is about the same height and width, but it has quite a lot more depth to it, and it has rolly wheels, and they're available for about £140. It's not cheap, but I'm seriously considering that as an option, because then I can get the life jacket, the major pump, the oars will probably go in somewhere, maybe even my dry bag or something, all in one unit, so I can just grab the handle and roll it down to the river. But that basically is it. How to pump it up, how to put it back. Job done. Hope that helps somebody.